What's up, everybody? It's Matt from Night and Day Performance, back with another video. As you saw in the video earlier on this one, if you're continuing on, the guys went ahead and got the motor ripped out of this 2023 Dodge Challenger behind me. This vehicle has right around 17,000 miles on it, and as you can see by my shirt, I avoid warranties. This time we didn't do it. The dealership up near Odessa did diagnostics on it. When I mean diagnostics, meaning they went through and did what every single time they do is looked at it, heard a noise, said it needs a new motor. They told the customer he had a cracked piston. We're gonna figure out if that's actually what happened. When we did the bore scope, we didn't see anything cracked as far as on top of the piston. It could be one of the ring lands, we're not sure yet. But we're gonna go ahead and dig into this motor that's right behind me here, and we're gonna tear it apart and see where the failure has occurred. Their reasoning behind this failure was long tube headers with no tune. They said that it caused the vehicle to run lean, which caused it to probably melt a piston or cause other damage from it running lean. I highly doubt that's the reason why this one failed. Yes, those conditions are possible for having engine problems, but the customer didn't have these headers on that long. He was going in between from when he got them installed to getting them tuned. So I don't believe that's what happened. Dodge just wanted a way to get out of doing a warranty on something that happened because of a parts failure. At the end of the day, with the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act, they could have very easily taken that to court and made the dealership prove that the long tube headers are what caused the failure. Because if what we think is a failure is actually true, it was not caused by the headers, it was a parts failure. It sounds like we have rod knock from whenever it was cycling over. We're gonna tear it apart and see, because if it cracked a rod or spun a main, that's most likely not caused by it running lean, even though it could cause it. That's probably a parts failure ordeal. But I'm gonna carry you guys along with me while I do this. I'm not gonna do a hyperlapse. I'm gonna let you see in real time. I'm gonna tear this engine apart. So on these engines, when you're taking them apart, if you don't know how to, you need an 8mm to take off the valve cover bolt. We're gonna take these off first, because I wanna see what the rockers look like, what the springs look like, what the push rods look like. See if we have any common failure occurrence here that could be causing the noise. The noise is bottom end from what we can tell. I don't think it's something like camera lifters, but I want to inspect everything. Move something a little faster. This vehicle's so new that the valve cover's not even stuck to it. It just came off. For those who have taken these off before, they don't normally come off that easy. This motor only has 17,000 miles on it. Nothing stands out here. Let's pull the other one off. Comes right off like butter. The gasket doesn't even look like it's worn. On this side, it looks pretty normal. The failure seemed to come from the passenger side, which is this side. So, I guess let's go ahead and get the heads taken off real quick. for this build is hopefully whenever we get this taken apart, it's not too serious, because he was just gonna go ahead and do a cam and lifter's job on it, so we can make sure that we don't have a lifter failure later on down the line with this one. We're throwing most of this away anyways. Nothing yet. So we have no bent push rods from what I can see that are obvious. Let's go ahead and get this cylinder head pulled out. What do you guys think the failure is going to be? Leave that down in the comments for us on what you think happened to this motor. 17,000 miles. Only modifications to it are long tube headers. It was catless, if you're asking that question. So I guess he had the cats removed. No, it was not tuned, which is also not good, but we'll see here. Impact's going dead. Alright. Those pulled off. Let's see here. Nothing super obvious other than nothing super obvious with the heads on this side, or the head on this side, as far as damage would go. Head bolts are not reusable, so we're not reusing those. So from the looks at the top of that piston, there's nothing wrong with that. Let's get this other side taken down. Good. Weird. Well, looks like I'll need a new rocket shaft bolt for this one. I messed that up. Stretch that out a little bit. Grab one more bit real quick. That one might take it off. Might have to get my extractor set out. That's round to the top of this bolt. Yep, that was not working. I'm doing here, if you've never done it, I have a 3/8 socket, so it's smaller than the tendon. Use that and hammer it over because it's smaller to make new grooves. Like that, we can get it off. And then of course it gets stuck. Push rods look damaged. Alright, got all those out. Alright. And the cylinder head is not damaged. Alright, so we have no damage on there. So now we're going to flip it over to the bottom end. I'm pretty sure that's where the damage is going to be. I'm going to make a really big mess, but let's just vacuum this up real quick. Let's see here. This oil pan ripped off. Now, by the way, I will link another video. We did take the oil pan and drain all the oil out of it. And to answer the question, yes, there was tons and tons of metal in there as far as metal shavings go. So we know there is definitely a big problem, other than the obvious knocking sound. All of the bolts that I removed, they all get labeled and bagged and tagged, so nothing gets lost or mixed up with the other cars. Because right now we have a bunch of cars in here. That's odd. Two of the bolts are missing in the back of the oil pan that I did not take out. I don't think my guys would have took it out when they did the transmission removal, but it is possible. I'll convene with them later to see. That. we gonna find in here? That's the question. There we go. Oh, wait. So, not sure if the camera's gonna pick this up, but got metal all in the oil pan right there from where we drained it. So that is a big problem. Go ahead and get the rest of this taken down so we can see what's underneath. Metal going through it, this oil pump is trash. It will not be being reused. Get a flathead. So it's not as easy to get off as the other one. I'll put back on this way. Not seeing anything obvious yet. Turn it over some. I'll grab a socket so I can rotate that. I don't see anything obvious still. And I found it. Maybe. Yeah, I think I found it. Oh, looks like we spun a rod bearing. That's what it indicates right now without tearing. I gotta tear it down the rest of the way, but not sure if the camera will pick it up enough, but down there on that piston, it's missing a piece at the bottom of the skirt. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that torn apart. Get these pistons knocked out real quick so we can see. Pretty sure that's what we have going on. So, actually, I'm gonna take those out first. Pretty obvious to me, but gotta make sure. Oh yeah. We have some square scoring on the inside of the bearing there. I don't see direct signs of heat, meaning that it ran lean, but the rods are a little scored up. Bearings don't look that bad. We're missing a piece right here. So they're already cut, but there's a piece missing on that one. So I don't think that's the cause of the knocking, the loudness though. Passenger side. When I say knocking noise, this thing was not knocking lightly. This thing was knocking very, very loudly. A little marking there. Bearing doesn't look bad. There. Silver 7. I do feel a little binding when I'm turning the crank though. So. Something is definitely not happy. Cap looks good. Oh, found it. Found the culprit. I can't even get it off. It has a spun rod bearing very badly. So bad I can't even get it off. I'm not taking this now. You can see the bearings aren't even coming off with this. That main cap though. We're gonna mark this one. We know for a fact that this one is bad. That is is cylinder 6. So who thought rod bearing? That's the question. Leave that in the comments. If you guessed rod bearing, you were correct. Let's see what the rest of these look like. I can show you how bad this rod bearing is. Just spun one. The other one's fine. Its partner beside it is a little chewed up from the metal going everywhere, but otherwise fine. This is the culprit. As you can see, they're kind of stuck together. Rod bearings are not supposed to look like that. So they flattened out and spun. So I don't think this was a cause of the long tube headers. I really don't. It could have got hot in that cylinder, could have heated up the rod and all, but I'm not convinced that the headers caused that. Not at all. What do you guys think? Do you think the long tubes without a tune caused that? Get ready to do a mid-muffler delete on the scat. This piston also looks fine. Looks like, I think this is a random parts failure, to be honest. I don't believe this was caused by the headers. But of course, with Dodge, the way they do their business with warranties, they want to save money, and I don't blame them. So any way possible to save money, they're going to do it, including voiding customers' warranties. So that one was 5. To be honest, I don't even think the crank is really damaged. Jesus Christ. I think the crank might be fine on this one. Might have to polish it. Perfectly fine. That one had no markings at all. Very good. Rod's a little scored. These all can be polished though, other than the one that's spun. Now what's next for this one is we'll probably we'll get the crank checked by the machine shop to see if it can be cleaned up. If not, we have a spare crank we can use. This one's going to get FRP forged drop-ins and rods because he wants to later on be able to throw some power at it. So he said right now is the perfect time since Dodge already voided his warranty. We might as well go ahead and upgrade. I agree. Might as well. We're going to go ahead and do Since we don't have to do a stroker because we have options here, and I don't think the block's tore up. We're probably going to do the Tomahawk 2.0 cam in this one with a stall converter. Alright, so that one. Drop stuff. Oh! Fine. And if you're asking why I'm throwing the bearings on the floor, because I don't reuse these bearings, especially on motors that have had metal going through them like that. Too much of a risk when I can just put new bearings in it. So if they don't want to pay for it, they can go to a different shop. I don't like to half-ass and do stuff the quick way. I like to do it the right way. This one looks fine. Very good. That just fell. Alrighty, so now that we found the culprit, you guys can hang around. I'm going to tear the rest of this apart. Go ahead and speed things up a little bit. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. What do you guys think? Did this failure happen because of long tube headers and not being tuned, or because of long tube headers, or was this simply a Dodge parts failure that got thrown on the customer because he decided to modify his car? You guys tell me in the comments. I'm gonna jump back into this, and till next time, guys, it's Matt from 9 Day Performance. Keep modifying. Come on to Houston, swing by the shop, check us out. We're at 74098 Wright Road. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you guys on the next one.